Sudowoodo gonna fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze will be forcing the Protect Shield, but this is not a matchup Lapras can win. The CharonsClaw gonna be investing that Protect Shield, looking for the counter farm down, leaving with residual energy good to go. The opponent can send back out Primeape, and potentially they won't shield, as I've already seen Jumpluff. We fire off the boosted Trailblaze. Trailblaze nearly picks up the one-hit KO. Sudowoodo able to counter farm down. Sudowoodo absolutely running rampant. Out comes Drapion, and Sudowoodo has almost ran through the entire team. Welcome back to the channel. Firstly, excuse the voice. I woke up and I'm feeling a bit sick, but the show must go on, especially when I get the absolute pleasure of showcasing this absolute monstrous anti-meta pick. The CharonsClaw has been thinking outside of the box, and he's actually thought of such a clever Pokemon to use in the current meta. Shadow Sudowoodo is able to bully some of the most common safe switches in the meta. We're talking about things like Feraligatr, Lapras, Diggersby, Furret, and of course, the ever-annoying Cradilly. That's not all Sudowoodo can offer. It also is able to fully wall Jumpluff on its most common moveset of Aerial Ace and Acrobatics, as well as act as a complete wall to the ever-annoying Talonflame. Sudowoodo's actually got a very respectable stat product as well. It's very comparable to Drapion. It's actually near identical. And oh wait, you can add Drapion into the list of things that Sudowoodo can bully in the 2-shield scenario. Without any further ado, let's get into the battle! And in game 1, the CharonsClaw is going to lead Shadow Jumpluff into a Azumarill, the very bulky, boring bunny. Despite us being a grass type and then being a water type, we've not got any grass type moves, and they've got access to Ice Beam that is going to be double super effective. Right off the bat, the CharonsClaw YOLOs the Acrobatics, which does land with an attempt an Ice Beam catch onto Drapion. Our catch attempt unsuccessful, but it's nice for us that the opponent does opt to dump energy before sending Furret into the arena. It looks like the opponent was forced to go for some chip and dip action, as they clearly have no great answer for a Drapion safe switch. The CharonsClaw able to land the crunch, the opponent wastes no time, fires off the Swift, removing us from the field of play. Are we going to send back out Jumpluff, or is it Sudowoodo time? It's Sudowoodo time. Look at the counter damage. Despite not getting same type attack bonus, Furret very quickly got deleted. Back out comes Azumarill. We've got Trailblaze. Trailblaze! Oh, goes shielded. Who even knows Sudowoodo's moveset? This thing's got a whole variety of moves. The opponent fire off the Ice Beam, forcing our Protect Shield back. We then pivot into Jumpluff, and out comes Talonflame. The CharonsClaw, once again, not messing around, YOLOing the Acrobatics. Talonflame shows little respect to get rocked deep into the red health range. The CharonsClaw fires off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace forced the final Protect Shield. The opponent looking for that full Incinerate farm down, which they're able to get. How do we play this? I think we've got a no-shield, right? The CharonsClaw does no-shield the move. The opponent opts to throw back-to-back, and this certainly gives us a wink on. The CharonsClaw invests the Protect Shield. Back out comes Azumarill. Azumarill going to be straight in and straight out. Talonflame going to get resisted, counter farm down, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Shadow and Shadow Crawl with Jumpluff into Steelix. The CharonsClaw instantly pivots into Drapion and goes straight for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail is going to be super effective, but Steelix does comfortably tank too. To my surprise, Steelix remains on the screen. I really thought the opponent would catch, but they do not, and we're actually able to force a Protect Shield here. The opponent's farming up a bucket load of energy. Are we about to get Earthquake? There's no shot, right? No, they go for the Psychic Fangs. Trainer, that simply is not going to cut it. Drapion withstands the damage, fires off the next Aqua Tail, rocking Steelix deep into the red health. The CharonsClaw sends Jumpluff back into the arena to operate as the damage sponge. The opponent fire off the Psychic Fangs. That doesn't do much of anything, but then reset our debuff and give Sudowoodo a 1-counter running start. I think if this thing got something like Rollout, it'd be a top meta threat. Unfortunately, Counter's energy generation is horrendous nowadays, but Sudowoodo still puts in work. Out comes the balloon. We're going to invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the Icy Wind, and we're going to return fire with the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb should be forcing the final Protect Shield. No! The opponent fucked about. They found out the balloon. I don't know what they're expecting, but they got absolutely one shot. I know Sudowoodo is a spicy Pokemon, but honestly, it's a mono rock type. You've got to imagine, even if you don't know the moveset, it's got some kind of rock type move. It's actually got Rock Slide, Meteor Beam, as well as Rock Tubes. It's got plenty of rock type moves, and I think all of them would have got the same result. As always, we got massively distracted, but as soon as that Rock Tomb landed, this game was signed, sealed, and delivered. We fire off the Acrobatics, which easily picks up the 1-hit KO, and we take that game. In the next battle, the opponent also running a spicy pick. I believe that was a non-shadow Cacturn. I don't think I've ever seen the regular variant ever. They save switch into Grumpig. We YOLO the Acrobatics, attempt the Shadow Ball catch onto Drapion, and unfortunately our catch attempt is unsuccessful. To be honest, we don't really need switch advantage, but I guess it's nice to pick. Let's see if the CharonsClaw looks to keep alignment. We see the instant shield deployed. The CharonsClaw looks to keep that alignment. He overfarms, fires off the crunch. The opponent likely let this go, recognising switch advantage is lost, and they do exactly that. Let's see if Cacturn does return. Cacturn is going to fully wall us, although this thing's insanely glassy. Despite them not being a shadow, this crunch probably still does half their health. Oh my god, even more than that. The CharonsClaw then aggressively pivots into Jumpluff, looking to get head and energy. The opponent sends out Talonflame. Once again, we land the Acrobatics. These Talonflames love to call baits, and the CharonsClaw is not baiting. The opponent now forced to shield an Aerial Ace. The opponent does get that full Incinerate farm down. We send back out Drapion. Oof, I thought we were going to get fully Incinerate farm down. I think I would have personally sent out Sudowoodo just to wall the energy. We give the opponent 100 energy. We've always got to tank this move, although boosted Brave Bird might be quite threatening. Oof, who was worried? Sudowoodo tanks the boosted Brave Bird like an absolute boss. Back out comes Cacturn. They fire off the Trailblaze, vamping up their attack, but one further counter gets over the line, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see yet more Shadow on Shadow crime. The opponent save switches into Cradilly, and it is Sudowoodo time. Despite them being a grass type and us being a rock type, Sudowoodo will be the victor in the 2-shield scenario. It's even better for us that the opponent full send the grass knot, not debuffing our attack. Speaking of which, we fire off the Trailblaze that vamps up our attack. This one should be the Rock Tomb, returning us back to neutral. The opponent once again looked for the kill shot with the grass knot, and Sudowoodo able to fully counter farm down, and now leaves with a +1 attack. Back out comes Blastoise, and we're going straight for the boosted Trailblaze. Trailblaze forces our Protect Shield back, and look at the counter damage, absolutely disgusting. Blastoise going to fire off the Hydro Cannon, looking to remove Sudowoodo from the field of play. Down goes Sudowoodo. Imagine as the opponent switched out this opening matchup. They don't have Ice Beam. It looks like we got one turn bring in there. We did throw 4 Fairy Winds and the Chargery, which should be optimal timing, but game state absolutely horrendous. It ends up giving the opponent a free rollout, but it simply doesn't matter as the opponent tanked the move, sent out Diggersby, then conceded the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Jumpluff into Drapion. Drapion going to strike first, firing off the crunch, instantly rocking us below half health. The CharonsClaw continues that YOLO play pattern, full sends the Acrobatics that almost picks up the one shot, but then able to snipe with Sudowoodo, getting a very nice 2-counter running start. Out comes Marowak. Come on, trainer, it's just the rock side. Does the opponent know the moveset? Trailblaze! No! Oh, doesn't one shot. I thought Sudowoodo was about to pop off. Unfortunately, Marowak able to withstand the damage. We send back out Jumpluff. Jumpluff able to Fairy Wind farm down. The opponent sends out Talonflame. Talonflame once again going to get greeted with the Acrobatics. Finally, an opponent shields up the Acrobatics and Drapion hits the field of play. Both the CharonsClaw and his opponent farming up a bucketload of energy. The opponent going to fire off the fly. Drapion goes for the correct 2 Poison Stings and the first Aqua Tail. The opponent only has 1 shield. They're going to shield the first Aqua Tail, 2 further Poison Stings, and this time we're going for the Crunch. Crunch actually has slightly less than a super effective Aqua Tail. But regardless, we're able to go for some style points, fire off the Aqua Tail, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle. We're going to lead Shadow Jumpluff into Primate. A beautiful lead, although a lot of Primate do run Ice Punch, that is something to be wary of. The opponent save switches into Lapras and Sudowoodo hits the field of play. Once again, I'm anticipating the CharonsClaw double shield and looking to cheese his way through this matchup. He wastes no time, fires off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze not only super effective, but also has a 100% chance to vamp up our attack. The CharonsClaw thinking about it, he does burn the final Protect Shield. He's going to look for that full counter farm down, leaving boosted with energy good to go. If Primate returns, they might consider not shielding as I've seen Jumpluff. If they don't shield, this Trailblaze is going to do monstrous damage, rocking them into the red. Sudowoodo able to counter farm down. Out comes Drapion. Sudowoodo still not done. Going to fire off the Rock Tomb, permanently debuffing Drapion. And Sudowoodo has quite literally ran through the entire team. We send back out Jumpluff. The opponent doesn't want the smoke and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Big Man Blastoise in the lead position. Once again, the opponent says no thank you and save switch into Drapion. I'm anticipating the CharonsClaw looking to YOLO that Hail Mary acrobatics, and he does not disappoint. Does the opponent respect the damage? Acrobatics! Oh, again lands. Holy crap, man. I was expecting the CharonsClaw to try and catch this next crunch, but it looks like he's happy to completely sack Jumpluff. Jumpluff actually survives on minimal HP. We then pivot into Drapion, and we're going to be looking for that Poison Sting farm down. The opponent fire off the departing Aqua Tail, then send back out Blastoise. Blastoise going to be greeted with the crunch. Even though it's a regular Blastoise, 2 Shadow Crunches will knock out. The opponent actually choose to shield the first one, which is somewhat questionable. Of course, you don't want to shield the first crunch, as subsequent ones after that would do more if we get that 30% chance of the defense drop. Drapion fires off the second crunch, rocking Big Man Blastoise into the yellow. The CharonsClaw just settles for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail goes unshielded, then go for the wham bam combo play. Fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace goes unshielded, and down goes Blastoise. Out comes Talonflame. And my trainer, do we have a surprise for you? Sudowoodo is going to fully wall this thing, but the issue for us is we take about 6 years to reach a charge move. The opponent has a heavy pacing advantage. We're going to no-shield the first move. The opponent go for the fly. Sudowoodo easily withstands the damage. The opponent tried to catch on Drapion. The CharonsClaw like, nah. Not today, trainer. 2 counters and the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb forces the opponent's final protection, then pivot into Drapion. I thought we was going to shield to get off the Aqua Tail, but the Charonsclaw like, nah. This is a Sudowoodo showcase. Sudowoodo will carry me home. Sudowoodo able to reach the Rock Tomb. It's going to be high Talonflame by Talonflame, with Sudowoodo claiming yet another victim. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Well, that's a yikes lead. We're going to say switch into Drapion. Drapion could have went straight for the crunch. As soon as you reached it, after 5 Poison Stings, a switch does take a turn. That would actually be good timing. This smells like an Icy Wind. Dugong users love to throw Icy Winds, especially in the 2-shield scenario. The CharonsClaw thought about calling it. Last second invested a Protect Shield, and I imagine he was pretty annoyed at that shield. The opponent then sends out Lapras. As we're debuffed, big bulky Lapras easily survives 2 crunches. Drapion fires off the second crunch, at least getting the opponent into the red. The CharonsClaw then attempts to catch a Sparkling Aura onto Jumpluff. A catch attempt unsuccessfully, but thankfully the opponent doesn't have Ice Beam, which would be double super effective. The opponent doesn't commit to the next Skull Bash, so we see an instant no-shield. Sparkling Aura simply is not going to cut it. The CharonsClaw going to full send the Acrobatics, just looking to remove Lapras from the field of play. Back out comes Dugong. Can we reach the departing Aerial Ace? Unfortunately, we cannot. We just miss out. How do we play this? Looks like the CharonsClaw are going to send out Drapion, look to force the energy and hope Sudowoodo up Protect Shield can sweep the back line. However, I'm not too sure on that, as I was going to say the opponent's already got 2 things weak to fight in. What the heck is this team comp? Triple Ice. I'm guessing the CharonsClaw's opponent has had enough of losing to Jumpluff. He is running triple counters for it. However, I think the CharonsClaw might actually win here. Just shield, counter farm down, then the question becomes, can we counter farm down Dugong? Let's go Sudowoodo. In Sudowoodo, I believe. We're low. Come on, Sudowoodo. Get that counter farm down. Back out. Comes Dugong. No! Heartbreakingly, the opponent able to withstand the boosted counters, and we take a heartbreaking loss. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see some Cotton Ball on Cotton Ball action. The CharonsClaw looks to catch a potential Acrobatics onto Sudowoodo. The opponent was not baiting, but Sudowoodo able to withstand the damage. The opponent continued to stay in. If they actually Acrobatics again, despite it being resisted, it would knock out. The opponent actually go for the Aerial Ace bait. We withstand the damage. The opponent then able to catch the Rock Tomb. But Rock Tomb still does a very big damage to Drapion. Drapion gets a massive Poison Sting farm down, but they're already at like 1 HP. How mad would it be if we're running mirror teams? Surely the opponent doesn't have Shadow Sudowoodo in the back. If they do, I think I'm just going to quit making content there. I can't take this anymore. We're able to tank the crunch. A Fairy Wind farm down. Back out comes Jumpluff. We YOLO our own Acrobatics, forcing the Protect Shield. The CharonsClaw still with 2 shields to hide behind. Going to be invested one here, and unfortunately this time we shield up the Aerial Ace bait. The CharonsClaw undeterred, going to YOLO yet another Acrobatics. This time it does land, removing the opposing Jumpluff from the field of play. And out comes Morpeko. The CharonsClaw attempts to YOLO yet another Acrobatics, but unfortunately loses CMP. Aura Will picks up the knockout. As they're now in the Hangry form, this move will be resisted, but it's going to hurt. I think we've got to no-shield it. The CharonsClaw agrees. Ouch. We get Rock Deep into the red. The CharonsClaw farms up to the double Aqua Tail. One will be forcing the Protect Shield, and the second will be removing the mouse from the field of play. Drapion simply will not be denied. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Shadow Jumpluff into Claydol. The Mud Slaps are going to be triple resisted, as Flying double resist ground and Grass also resist, but unfortunately the opponent should have access to Ice Beam. I think Ice Beam is the recommended moveset. Some do run Shadow Ball or even Scorching Sands. As the opponent shielded the first move, they're likely going to throw the Rock Tomb. They do exactly that, so predictable from people that run debuff moves. Shield the first move, then fire off that debuff. Even at -1, the Acrobatics is no joke. Rocking the opponent below half health. Our backline doesn't want to see Claydol, so we're going to see the CharonsClaw shield the next Rock Tomb. The opponent tried to catch onto Cradilly. We bank our energy and Sudowoodo hits the field of play. This time we're looking to call the Rock Tomb bait. Oh boy. The opponent was not baiting. Sudowoodo straight in and straight out. Poor old Sudowoodo was so young, man. The CharonsClaw now has it all to do. We send out Drapion, invest the protection, block up the Rock Tomb. The issue the CharonsClaw has got now is that the one crunch at -1 won't be lethal. So we've either got to dump yet further energy, which he's doing, or if we committed to the farm down, we get debuffed once again. We reset that debuff, send out Jumpluff. Out comes Marowak. Some of these team compositions are absolutely wild. ABA Mud Slap. The CharonsClaw went for a cheeky masturbating session, fired off the Aerial Ace, killing the poor defenseless Cap, but this enables him to land the Acrobatics. Acrobatics does monstrous damage. The opponent banks a Bone Club and send back out Claydol. We overfarm a bit too much and it's now all down to Drapion to clean up. If Drapion can double up, we win. Drapion will win CMP against Marowak. We're at the double. Very, very well played game. One Aqua Tail removes Claydol from the field of play. Back out comes Marowak and Drapion is going to be on cleanup duty. GG's, very nicely done. Judging by the huge amount of lag, the opponent not a fan of the CharonsClaw energy management and they rage quit the app. Honestly, get a life, man. You win some, you lose some. Don't rage quit. It's so bloody annoying. In the next battle, once again, we see the Jumpluff mirror, and again, we're going for the Acrobatics catch, or at least potential catch, onto Sudowoodo. The opponent went for the Aerial Ace bait, and that works out nicely for us, as Sudowoodo can take an Aerial Ace and an Aqua Tail. Not particularly well, but is survivable. It's quite rare you see the non-shadow Drapion, and you can see why most people opt for the shadow. The non-shadow just doesn't quite hit hard enough. Sudowoodo able to fire off the Rock Tomb. The opponent commits to that Poison Sting farm down. But again, Sudowoodo putting in a lot of work, getting the opponent down to around a third health and applying that very annoying debuff. The CharonsClaw sent out Drapion to operate as the damage sponge. The opponent paused the turn, but then still fired off the crunch regardless. We re-enter the Jumpluff mirror. We're able to land the Acrobatics, look to fire off the Aerial Ace, but unfortunately lose CMP. The CharonsClaw going to invest Protect Shield, blocking up the Aerial Ace, looking to keep Jumpluff healthy. I'm not actually sure if Aerial Ace or Crunch does more. Aerial Ace is super effective, but a very crappy move. I actually just quickly looked up on PvPoke. So Aerial Ace for a non-shadow Jumpluff does around 34%, and a Crunch does 27%, so a wise shield invested. We tank the Crunch, make the catch onto Drapion, baiting out more Peko. The CharonsClaw farms up 2 double Aqua Tail. The opponent still has a shield to be on where they're going to invest it. The first Aqua Tail goes unshielded. The CharonsClaw continues to farm up energy. I think potentially we just go for the fast move beat down here. Opponent fire off the Psychic Fangs. Back out comes Jumpluff. This can only be a Psychic Fangs, but we are going to shield. Can 4 Fairy Winds knock out? 1, 2, 3, 4. We get the perfect farm down. Back out comes Drapion. We're doubled up, you know the drill. 1 to strip the shield, 1 to knock out. The opponent recognises we're doubled up, tank the charge move, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Shadow on Shadow Crime. Jumpluff into Dust Noir. Dust Noir opting for Astonish. Astonish does more fast move pressure, but I quite like Hex on Dust Noir. It is so incredibly spammy. The CharonsClaw again, YOLO and Acrobatics, left, right, and centre. I really like that strategy. You either guarantee big damage or a shield. In this case, we force a shield, and we're actually going to force the energy before we potentially reach the second Acrobatics. We send out Drapion, and out comes Primate. I guess we just stay in, as Sudowoodo's mono rock typing doesn't particularly like seeing fighters. The opponent farms to the close combat. We think about calling the bait, invest the Protect Shield, or often get baited with a Rage Fist. That's so annoying. We're going to fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. This can only be a Rage Fist, right? They threw on 5, then did 3 further, so I guess unless they're running Cross Chop or Night Slash, which also would be resisted, it had to be a Rage Fist. The CharonsClaw recognises we needed to keep Drapion around though, as we haven't really got a good way of dealing with that Dust Noir. Out comes Jumpluff, we bank a bucket of energy, send out Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo unfortunately going to be straight in and straight out. Shadow Punch picks up the knockout, and it's all down to Drapion to clean up. We go for 3 Poison Stings in the Aqua Tail. It's actually a clever play, if it knocks out, which it does, because we don't take the Astonish damage. This is going to get super close. Do 2 crunches, knock out the first one. Looks like it has half the remaining HP. The CharonsClaw, once again, perfect energy management and able to emerge victorious. So I was chatting with the CharonsClaw on Discord, maybe like a week or something ago. He's currently playing below 2500 elo, and he was getting a bit frustrated with not ranking up. You can see with his energy management, he's certainly got all the credentials to reach legend rank. I was also having a conversation with Alpha. I think getting to legend rank, especially the first time, it's more mentally, or mental I should say, than anything else. Like, I personally played like terribly in my legend run, but I do it pretty much every season, so it's kind of something I'm used to doing, so I don't really get too stressed about it. I think you just need to get over that mental barrier if you're looking to rank up for the first time. My best advice, take one game at a time, don't worry about elo, and don't worry about who you're playing either. As you can tell by my graphic on the right hand side, I'm one of the admins on Pokemon Go PvP Fight Club on the Facebook platform, and all I see is people like stuck in ace rank, like, oh, I played a legend trainer. It's so unfair. Honestly, every single player is beatable. I feel like people that don't often rank up are already psyched out when they face someone just because they've got a legend pose or a legend badge, and that isn't the way it should be. To be honest, this game isn't all that complicated. At the end of the day, we're just playing a turn-based game on a mobile phone that essentially involves us tapping. So to get to legend rank, some of the things you really need to zone in on are energy management, fast move timing, and anticipation. However, I suppose we should return to commentary. I've definitely gone off on a super tangent today. We fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze isn't lethal, and Sudowoodo unfortunately doesn't get the counter farm down either. Rock Tomb picks up the knockout. We send back out Jumpluff. The opponent not wanting to concede a farm down. Send back out Malamar. We go straight for the Acrobatics. Acrobatics isn't quite lethal. We're able to Fairy Wind farm down. We're going to be able to Fairy Wind farm down Cradillia as well and take that game. Heading into the next battle. Oof. For those of you that believe in the algorithm, who the heck runs a normal Avalugg? An atrocious lead for us. We say switch into Drapion. Drapion fires off the crunch. The opponent bank the Icy Wind and then send out Big Man Blastoise. The CharonsClaw going to fire off the crunch. Hopefully this opponent's smarter than last and don't shield the first in case they get the defense drop. I talk that one into existence. The CharonsClaw now goes for the Aqua Tail bait. The opponent desperate to keep that super positive alignment. Invest a Protect Shield. The CharonsClaw just going to take his shield advantage. I guess we send out Jumpluff and look to get ahead in energy, and we do exactly that. If the opponent's got Ice Beam, so be it, as Jumpluff going to be dead weight against that Avalugg. The opponent fire off the Skull Bash. Jumpluff, very, very bulky, able to withstand the damage. The CharonsClaw overfarms, fires off the Aerial Ace, and we are spamming the switch. Out comes Sudowoodo. The opponent farms up yet more energy and send out more Peko. I can't believe the opponent didn't debuff us before sending out something weak to fight in. The opponent go for the Psychic Fangs bait, but I've got a sneaky feeling that no bait will be saving this opponent's fate. We fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze goes unshielded. This all gone wrong for the opponent. Some quite strange decision making. They actually didn't have Icy Wind. They fired off the Avalanche, but regardless, we counter farm down everything and take that game. The tough leads continue. This time we look to utilise Sudowoodo on the Say Switch, and out comes Feraligatr. This is certainly a matchup we can cheese our way through in the 2-shield scenario, and I anticipate us looking to do exactly that. We see the Instant Shield deployed. Unfortunately, not going to be able to counter farm down before the second Hydro Cannon's reached, but the CharonsClaw more than happy to just cheese his way through this matchup, leaving boosted with residual energy good to go. If Corviknight returns, they're not going to appreciate a boosted Rock Tomb. Back out comes Corviknight. We fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb does half the health, and look at the counter damage go. The opponent can't even farm us down. Sand attack from Corviknight is so garbage. It applies so little fast move pressure, even when it's super effective. Another example of that is just how little fast move pressure Drapion's taking. Despite us being weak to ground, we fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail goes unshielded, and out comes Marowak. Marowak going to be greeted with the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail forces the opponent's final protection, and we pivot into Jumpluff. I've played this matchup out enough to know that 2 rock slides, even Shadow and Shadow Crime, simply will not cut it. The CharonsClaw going to leave us with one final gift of yet another Acrobatics landing. I don't think I've ever seen so many Acrobatics land in a showcase before. He was YOLOing them at left, right and centre. The opponent fire off the rock slide, which doesn't get the job done. We Fairy Wind farm down and end today's video with another big fat dub. GG's and thanks for playing. A huge shout out to the CharonsClaw for bringing us a very fun and highly entertaining showcase of a spicy Pokemon. Despite Sudowoodo being quite spicy, you can see it's got quite a lot of play in the current meta. I for one would love to see it gain access to rollout. I think it'd be like Blastoise, something you never saw whatsoever, but give it rollout and I think it'd be a top meta threat. So it's got a nice stat product, it's got decent charge moves, Trailblaze, Rock Tomb, Rock Slide, Meteor Beam, you name it. Sudowoodo has all the charge moves, but unfortunately no quick moves to accompany it. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.